What if I told you that right now, without you even realizing it, your body might be giving off quiet little signs, not of getting old, but of thriving? Not signs of slowing down, but signs that you're still built for the long haul. Signs that, if you're between 65 and 85, could quietly be whispering, hey, you might just make it to 100. Now, I know, living to 100 sounds like one of those things that happen to someone else. Someone on the news. Someone who eats nothing but kale and runs marathons at 90. But here's the thing, science says that reaching a full century of life isn't just about genetics or luck. It's about patterns, habits, and certain hidden indicators that show your body is aging better than most. Maybe you've never been to a gym in your life. Maybe you've got a sweet tooth. Maybe you've been through hard times, grief, illness, heartbreak. But if you still do this one simple thing every day, or if you recognize just a few of these 8 signs we're about to uncover, then listen closely. Because you might be aging in a way that's quietly extraordinary. See, for so many people over 65, aging feels like a ticking clock. Like you're supposed to get weaker, slower, more forgetful. But what if aging wasn't a downward slope? What if it was just changing lanes? What if your sharp memory, your sense of humor, the way you still get up and move every morning, what if those are the clues? The clues that you're aging in reverse, biologically speaking. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through 8 signs, backed by science, that show you might just be headed for triple digits. These aren't gimmicks. They're not miracle cures. They're real, observable patterns in the lives of people who've hit 90, 95, even 100, and still cook their own meals, tell sharp jokes, and walk under their own power. Stick with me. Because by the end of this video, you're going to be looking at yourself, or your parent, or grandparent, in a very different light. You'll learn how something as simple as how fast you walk, or how well you sleep, can quietly signal decades of life still ahead. And hey, before we dive in, tell me something, are you between 65 and 85? Or maybe you've got a loved one who is. Drop a comment below with your age, or their age, and let's see how many of these signs show up in your life. And if this is the kind of insight you want more of, the kind that helps us grow older with grace, not fear, subscribe to Elder Talks Daily. Because here, we don't talk about aging like it's the end of the road. We talk about it like it's just the next beautiful chapter. Now let's get into the first sign. And trust me, it might be something you've never paid attention to before. Now, let's start with a sign that seems simple, but might just be one of the most powerful predictors of living longer. You still walk, briskly. With ease. With purpose. I'm not talking about a slow shuffle around the living room. I'm talking about that confident stride down the sidewalk. The kind of walk that makes people do a double take and think, wait, how old is he again? Take Mr. Robert, for example. He's 78 years old. Retired. Lives in a quiet neighborhood. Every morning at 7 a.m. sharp, and every evening at 6 p.m., he's out there walking his dog, rain or shine. Not limping. Not dragging. But moving like a man who's got somewhere to be and something to do. People stop and ask him, how do you do it at your age? He usually just smiles and says, I've always kept moving. That's the trick. And he's not wrong. You see, brisk walking after the age of 65 isn't just about mobility. It's about what's under the hood. Strong heart. Good circulation. Healthy lungs. Coordinated muscles. Stable joints. Even a sharp mind, because walking is linked to better cognitive function too. Science shows that people who maintain a fast or steady walking pace later in life are less likely to die from cardiovascular issues. Less likely to lose independence. And more likely to still be living fully when others are winding down. But here's the twist. Most folks think that slowing down is just a normal part of aging. That it's okay to shuffle a little, to take tiny steps, to avoid long distances. But sometimes, that slowing down isn't just age. It's your body waving a quiet red flag, telling you something deeper might be off. Muscle loss, poor circulation, even neurological changes. And the worst part? We often don't catch it until it's already affecting quality of life. So if you're still able to get up, put on your shoes, and walk around the block with energy in your step, celebrate it. It's not just a sign of fitness. It's a signal of resilience. And if you've slowed down recently, don't panic. Start where you are. Try walking a little every day, even 10 minutes at a time. Add a gentle hill. Choose a new route. Challenge your body just enough to wake it up again. Remember, aging doesn't mean standing still. It means finding new ways to keep moving forward. And speaking of movement, there's another kind of movement that's just as powerful, but it happens inside your brain. Because your legs might get you places, but your mind keeps you truly alive. Let's talk about that next. Now let's shift from your legs, to your mind. Because while movement keeps your body young, memory, that's what keeps you whole. Your stories, your jokes, your lessons, they're all tucked inside your mind, and when you're still able to recall them clearly, both the new and the old, that's not just a sign of a good memory. That's a sign your brain is aging beautifully. Let me tell you about Ms. Elaine. She's 81. Lives alone. And every Sunday, her grandkids FaceTime her just to hear her stories. She remembers the year she eloped. The first car she drove. She remembers what her granddaughter wore at last year's school recital, and which pie they served at Thanksgiving. Not just random facts, but vivid, emotionally rich, deeply rooted memories. Her past is still with her, and so is her present. You might think, well, she's just lucky. Some folks have good memory genes. But science says there's more to it than that. People who reach 90, 95, even 100 with sharp recall, they tend to stay mentally active. They stay curious. They read. They play games. They keep conversations going, and more importantly, they listen. You see, as we age, some cognitive slowing is normal. But losing the ability to remember names, recent conversations, appointments, or important events too often can be a sign of something deeper, like early cognitive decline. But here's the real shocker. Research shows that maintaining your memory in your 70s and 80s is strongly associated with living longer, and living better. Because a sharp memory is connected to better decision-making, stronger relationships, and greater independence. But many people shrug off early signs of forgetfulness. Oh, I'm just getting old. No. Don't let that be your excuse. Your brain is a muscle, too, and it can be trained. So if you're still remembering birthdays, recipes, funny stories from 50 years ago and what you watched last night, that's not just nostalgia. That's neurological gold. And if you feel like your memory isn't what it used to be, don't give up. Try learning a new skill. Write things down by hand. Call someone and talk about your week out loud. It actually strengthens memory recall pathways. And here's a tip, don't isolate. Isolation speeds up memory loss. Connection protects it. Now, let's talk about another little thing people overlook. It's not about your mind or your memories, it's right there in your hand. Literally. Because the next sign of longevity is hiding in your grip. Now I want you to do something. Hold out your hand. Make a fist. Give it a gentle squeeze. Feel that? That's more than just muscle. That's your lifeline. It might sound strange, but your grip strength, yes, your hand grip, is one of the clearest predictors of how well you're aging. And how long you might live. Let me introduce you to Mr. Dennis. 84 years old. Lives with his cat, Charlie. Still opens jars without asking for help. Still carries his own shopping bags up the porch steps. Still insists on using his old-school lawn shears, by hand. His grip is strong. And the science? It backs him up. Multiple studies have found that strong grip strength is directly linked to lower risk of heart disease, stroke, mobility issues, and even early death. Why? Because grip strength is like a mirror. It reflects the strength of your whole body, your muscles, your coordination, even your nervous system. But here's the problem. Most folks don't think twice about it. They say, "Oh, I just have weak hands," or "I don't need to open jars anymore, I have kids for that." But letting your grip weaken isn't just about convenience. It's often the first domino that leads to a chain reaction: less independence, more falls, less confidence, and eventually, more risk. But the good news? Grip strength is something you can improve, at any age. You don't need fancy equipment. Use a stress ball. Do light dumbbell curls. Carry your grocery bags evenly in both hands. Try squeezing a towel when it's wet, gently, but firmly. Even just buttoning your shirt or chopping vegetables with purpose can help keep your hands alive and active. So if your hands still feel strong, if you can open jars, carry books, hold your coffee mug with no shaking, celebrate that. Because that simple squeeze might just be a secret signal that your body is aging gracefully. And remember, losing grip strength doesn't just mean weaker hands. It can be your body whispering, "Hey, don't forget me. Don't stop using me." So don't stop. Now, let's move from strength to resilience. Because the next sign isn't about what you can lift, it's about how quickly you can bounce back when life knocks you down. Have you ever noticed how some people, even in their 70s or 80s, catch a nasty cold or take a hard fall, and somehow they're back on their feet in what feels like no time? It's like their body refuses to stay down. It's not magic. It's not luck. It's resilience, the kind that's deeply wired into their biology. Take Ms. Clarice, for example. She's 76. Caught the flu last winter, bad one. Fever, chills, cough, the whole 9 yards. Her daughter was already planning on her missing church for a month. But just 10 days later, Clarice was back at her women's circle. With her lipstick on, handing out banana bread like nothing happened. People asked, "What's your secret?" And she just smiled and said, "I listen to my body, but I don't baby it." There's a reason Clarice bounced back fast. Her immune system is still sharp. Her organs are still functioning well. Her inflammation levels are likely low. And all of that means her body heals fast, a rare and beautiful sign of healthy aging. See, when you're younger, healing happens quickly and quietly. You sprain an ankle, and a week later, it's fine. But as we age, the body slows its repair process. That's normal. What's not normal, is bouncing back like a teenager after 70. If that's you, that's a flashing green light from your biology. But too many of us ignore how important this is. We think being tough means ignoring illness, or we assume long recovery is just part of aging. But a quick bounce back is one of the most overlooked signs that your systems are still firing on all cylinders: your immune response, your circulation, your cellular repair. So how do you keep that resilience? Sleep is critical. Your body repairs itself most at night. Hydration helps move waste out of your system faster. And don't skip your protein, it fuels tissue repair. Even more importantly, don't stay down too long. Move gently. Get sun on your skin. Stay mentally engaged even while recovering. It tells your body, we're still living. Keep up. So if you've had surgery and were walking again in days, or got sick and recovered faster than everyone around you, that's not just a good week. That's your body saying, I'm not done yet. And speaking of powerful signals, there's one that hides in plain sight. Not in how you move or how you heal, but in the way you see the world. Let's talk about the secret power of staying optimistic, and why it might just add years to your life. There's something almost magnetic about a person who still smiles easily, who laughs at silly jokes, who finds joy in the little things, even after everything life has thrown their way. That kind of spirit. It's not just uplifting. It's life-extending. Let me tell you about Mr. Ben. 80 years old. He's been through more than most, lost his wife, survived cancer, buried 2 siblings, and yet, he's the one telling jokes at every family dinner. Corny ones, too. The kind that make the kids roll their eyes and laugh anyway. He's the first to compliment a stranger. The first to say, "This too shall pass," when things get tough. People say he's just naturally happy. But research shows there's something much deeper going on. Optimism in older adults is strongly linked to reduced risk of chronic illness, lower levels of stress hormones like cortisol, and better cardiovascular health. In fact, studies from Harvard and beyond have found that people with a positive outlook are significantly more likely to live into their 90s and even past 100. Because optimism isn't denial. It's a way of navigating pain without getting stuck in it. It lowers inflammation, supports your immune system, helps regulate blood pressure. And over time, that smile on your face, it's doing real work inside your body. But here's what often gets missed. A lot of people assume that bitterness or grumpiness is just a normal part of growing older. That you earn the right to be irritable. But what if staying joyful, especially after life tests you, isn't just emotional resilience? What if it's biological armor? Of course, no one is cheerful every single day. But if you still find yourself able to giggle during a movie, if you feel grateful more often than resentful, if you still look forward to something each week, however small, then you're doing something profoundly right. And if that spark feels dim lately, try surrounding yourself with people who bring you light. Watch something funny. Go outside and smile at a stranger. Even writing down 3 good things before bed can start to shift your entire perspective. Happiness isn't reserved for the young. In fact, the kind that comes after heartache, the hard-earned kind, is often the most powerful of all. And if you've still got that kind of joy in you, you might just have something else, too, something many people over 65 are missing, a deep, uninterrupted night of sleep that leaves you feeling truly refreshed. There's a quiet kind of power in waking up before your alarm, feeling clear-headed, rested, and ready for the day. Not because you have to, but because your body's already done what it needs to do overnight. And for older adults, that kind of sleep, it's rare. But when it's there, it's gold. Think about Ms. June, 82 years old, lives in a cozy apartment with her books and her cactus plants. She's in bed by 9, up at 5. No tossing, no turning, no waking up 3 times to check the clock. She wakes with her tea kettle and classical music. Peaceful. Centered. She once said, "My sleep is like a good friend. Always there for me." And science agrees, deep, uninterrupted sleep in your later years is a powerful predictor of longevity. We're not just talking about getting enough rest. We're talking about the kind of sleep where your body repairs, your brain resets, and your heart rate dips into that calm, restorative rhythm. When you sleep deeply, your body produces more growth hormone, which helps with tissue repair. Your brain clears out waste proteins that, if left unchecked, can lead to cognitive issues like Alzheimer's. And your immune system recharges so you can fight off illness like a warrior. But let's be honest, many people over 65 struggle with sleep. They chalk it up to aging, to aches and pains, to bladder urgency, or just being a light sleeper. And while some of that is true, it doesn't mean you're doomed to restless nights. Because the people who sleep well in their 70s, 80s, and 90s, They protect their sleep. They avoid caffeine after noon. They dim the lights after dinner. They turn off the news at night and wind down with music or prayer or a warm bath. Most importantly, they keep a routine. Their body knows when it's time to rest, and when it's time to rise. So if you're one of the lucky ones who still sleeps soundly and wakes up ready, that's not just good fortune. That's a sign your body is still regulating itself beautifully. From hormone levels to immune function to mental clarity. And if your sleep hasn't been great lately, you can work on it. Because fixing sleep often means fixing everything else that matters. And speaking of daily routines, there's something else long-living people do well. It doesn't involve fancy diets or supplements. It's about how they eat, slowly, consistently, and with intention. Some people eat like it's just fuel. Others turn meals into a ritual. A rhythm. A moment to pause and care for themselves in a quiet, deliberate way. And that kind of mindful, consistent eating, that's not just good manners. It's a habit that science keeps linking to longer life. Take Mr. Felix, 79 years old, lives in a simple home with a tidy kitchen and one radio station he never changes. Every morning, he starts his day with 2 boiled eggs, half a papaya, and a warm cup of tea. Lunch is always around noon. Dinner never later than 6. He eats slowly. No phone. No TV. Just him, his plate, and the breeze through the window. He says, "I don't rush meals. That's when you start rushing life." And he's got a point. Because when you eat mindfully, when you chew slowly, sit upright, and actually taste your food, you're helping your digestion, your metabolism, and your nervous system all work in harmony. Consistent eating times also help regulate your body's internal clock, your circadian rhythm, which in turn improves your sleep, hormone balance, and even mood stability. But here's the problem most people run into. As we age, our appetite changes. Some skip breakfast. Others snack late at night. Many just graze through the day without real meals. But irregular eating stresses the body. It confuses your insulin response, impacts blood pressure, and can leave your organs running out of sync. And here's something a lot of people overlook: it's not just what you eat. It's how and when you eat it. If you're still eating at regular times, with balanced portions, and you're able to tell when you're full or satisfied, that's not something to take for granted. That's a finely tuned internal system still doing its job. And if you're not quite there yet, don't worry. You don't need a perfect diet. You just need rhythm. Start by sitting down for every meal. Put your fork down between bites. Take a breath before you begin. And avoid eating too close to bedtime. It disrupts everything from sleep to liver function. Those little habits might seem small, but they create a sense of structure your body can rely on. And over time, that structure can literally add years to your life. Now let's shift to something even deeper, something you can't measure with a step counter or blood test. But it might be the most powerful force behind every person who's made it past 100. There's a kind of light you see in some people's eyes, even in their 70s, 80s, 90s. It's not energy from sleep. It's not strength from vitamins. It's something deeper. Something that pulls them forward every day, even when life is heavy. It's called purpose. And the science? It's astounding. Having a reason to get up in the morning, even something small, has been shown to significantly lower the risk of heart disease, stroke, cognitive decline, and even early death. In fact, one long-term study found that older adults with a strong sense of purpose lived longer than those who didn't, even after accounting for their physical health. Let me tell you about Ms. Harriet. She's 85. Lost her husband 5 years ago. You'd think she might slow down. But every Thursday morning, she's up at 6, packing up cat food and blankets to take to the local animal shelter. She doesn't move as fast as she used to. But she moves with meaning. I just feel better when I know I'm needed, she says. And that's the secret right there. Feeling needed. Feeling useful. Feeling like your life still matters in the big picture. That's fuel the body can't get from food or sleep. But so many people, after retirement or loss, drift into this fog of, what now? They stop volunteering. Stop teaching. Stop creating. And slowly, their health starts fading. It's not because their body gave up. It's because their reason to keep going got blurry. But here's the good news, purpose doesn't have to be some grand mission. It can be as simple as checking in on a neighbor. Watering your plants. Reading bedtime stories to your great-grandkids. Writing letters. Leading a prayer group. Feeding birds at the park. It's the act of showing up for something, even something small, that gives your days shape and gives your health a quiet, steady lift. So if you still have a reason to wake up, something you look forward to, something that gives your days meaning, that's not just good for your soul. It's one of the strongest signs that your heart, your brain, and your entire system are still working together to keep you here, and keep you well. And if you're feeling a little lost lately, start with one thing. One phone call. One act of kindness. One moment of creativity. You'll be surprised how quickly the light comes back on. You've just heard 8 signs that your body and your spirit may be on track for something remarkable. But before we close, let's take a moment to reflect. Because knowing these signs is one thing. Feeling the weight of what they mean, that's where the real power is. Hearing these signs, one by one, can stir up a lot. Maybe some felt familiar. Maybe some felt far away. And that's okay. Because aging, real aging, isn't a checklist. It's a journey. A complicated, beautiful, sometimes heartbreaking road. And the fact that you're still on it, still listening, still caring about your health and your future, that alone speaks volumes about who you are. For some of you, this video brought a sense of comfort. A warm realization that, hey, I'm doing better than I thought. And if that's you, I hope you let that feeling sink in. But for others, maybe it brought worry. Maybe you recognized a sign that's missing. Or maybe you're thinking about someone you love who isn't doing so well. And that's not failure. That's awareness. And awareness is the beginning of change, not the end. It's never too late to shift. To reintroduce movement, to fight for better sleep, to reconnect with purpose, or to bring joy back into your days. We often think aging is this slow slide down a hill. But for many, it's actually a series of powerful choices. Some days those choices feel small. Like putting on your walking shoes instead of staying on the couch. Like calling someone instead of isolating. Like choosing a warm meal instead of skipping dinner. But those small decisions, they add up. They stack. And before you know it, they become momentum. They become hope. They become health. And look, I'm not here to sugarcoat it. Aging comes with grief, with aches, with the loss of people and routines and sometimes even parts of yourself. But if you're still here, still able to move, remember, laugh, sleep, eat with intention, bounce back after a setback, and hold on to something that gives your life meaning, then your story's not just continuing. It might be getting stronger. You don't have to aim for 100. But if your body and spirit are quietly working in that direction, why not honor that journey? Honor your resilience. Honor your progress. And most importantly, honor your possibility. Let's finish with a few simple steps to keep that possibility alive, together. So let's take a breath and bring it all together. Today, you learned about 8 subtle, powerful signs that your body may be on track for a longer, healthier life. You still walk briskly without struggle. You can recall both recent and distant memories clearly. Your hand grip is strong and steady. You bounce back quickly after illness or injury. You stay optimistic and laugh easily. You sleep deeply and wake up refreshed. You eat mindfully and consistently, and you live with a clear sense of purpose. If even 3 or 4 of these sound like you, your body might be telling you, we've still got a long road ahead. But here's the truth. Even if you're not seeing most of these signs right now, that doesn't mean you can't. Because aging isn't fixed. It's flexible. And even small improvements in just one of these areas can ripple out into the others. So I want to hear from you. Which of these signs do you still have? Or which one are you working on? Drop it in the comments. Let's talk. Let's share. Let's learn from one another. If you've made it this far in the video, you're clearly someone who values knowledge, growth, and thoughtful aging. So if you haven't already, take a moment to subscribe to Elder Talks Daily. We're building a space where wisdom is honored, where aging is celebrated, and where every new year is seen as something worth preparing for, not fearing. And if this video gave you clarity, comfort, or even just one helpful insight, click the like button. Share it with a friend or family member. You never know who might need to hear this today. Thank you for spending your time here with me. Thank you for being curious. Thank you for honoring your health and your story. Until next time. Stay strong. Stay kind. And always, keep choosing life. One step, one smile, one purpose at a time. I'll see you soon.